What's up, everyone? This is NBA Dope One. Come to you with another video. In life, when the next big thing comes, usually in movies, that next big thing, guys expect them to be the most, or rather him or her, the most beautiful. Obviously, in terms of shining the brightest, but sometimes it could be that person who we least expected. In terms of the next dynasty, some guys thought it could be the Denver Nuggets. Some guys thought it could be the 76ers, right? But it turns out, or pretty much the next best player in the world, the next guy who's going to carry the torch after LeBron, rather is Ben Simmons, right? However, it's turning out to be Luka Doncic. And also, you got great players like Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? Those two going to be competing in the finals for future to come. I hope so. Obviously, I'm not going to expect it. That'd be up to them, though. When you kind of look at Giannis' hard work and when you kind of look at Luka's raw talent, one can assume that those two be competing in the future. And Luka and Giannis are two players that no one truly expects, being that Luka obviously is more overseas. So the question for him was, will he be able to translate what he did into the NBA? Is always going to be that guy who shines the brightest. It's always going to be that person who I would say is beautiful or pleasing to the eye candy. But most of the time, it's going to be that person no one expects, right? The least among them, as they say. So when I kind of look at Luka Doncic, and usually in terms of this, no one will want to believe it because we obviously want to predict the next big things in terms of bragging rights. And whenever it's something else, we're going to be quite reluctant to try to give in, but pretty soon we won't be able to. Greg Popovich said some interesting comments. He said that Luka Doncic is Magic Johnson esque. Esque. He said he's not Magic Johnson, but he's Magic Johnson esque in terms of how he sees the floor. Luka Doncic to me plays like I would say, a right-handed James Harden with better IQ by far, and the brother's only 20 years old. The IQ aspect of James Harden's game is missing, right? Because James Harden lacks, I would say, the ability to balance his game under adversity, right? He lacks the ability to balance his game versus the team aspect of the game. His game gets in the way of the team aspect of the game to the point where coaches have to break their system to incorporate his game with the team. His game gets predictable and he is unable to change it. He relies on, I would say, deceit. It's like the brother ninja or something. He has to rely on deceit, right, to get points because in the last seconds, James Harden does not have confidence in his game that he believes that he can score comfortably. This is why he tries to draw fouls, which Max Kellerman pointed that out. However, in this case, Luka Doncic IQ, he is able to incorporate his game and still allow the team to play great. He can make plays out of single coverage. He can make plays out of double coverage. A lot of guys have to dominate, draw double teams, and make plays. James Harden is that guy. James Harden is not the type of guy, and a lot of guys rave about James Harden's assists, but a lot of those assists comes from how he breaks the defense down, pretty much him playing aggressive, which is nothing wrong with that. However, against a great defensive team, you're not going to make those type of plays all the time. It's going to be limited. So your teammates is not going to have the ball a lot. This is though so when I look at James Harden playmaking ability, it's predicated on how pretty much the defense and how good and consistent his game is, right? Luka Doncic is a true playmaker, meaning that he can make plays out of single and double coverage. He doesn't need a double team, and he's going to get those double teams. He can obviously, I would say, digress and let his team shine. This shows in his offense, this shows in his efficiency, and efficiency is just something James Harden is not, right? Efficiency is like acid to James Harden. James Harden is a very inefficient player, right? And James Harden, and the foul calling acts as a cushion, right? It acts as a free safety. And once that free safety is gone, then those inefficiencies hunt James Harden in the playoffs. I don't see that with Luka. So they're going to talk about it.
Gregg Popovich had some complimentary things to say about Luka Doncic. We'll get to that in a minute, but first, let's take a look at his return to action. First game back since December 14th. Driving inside, testing that ankle. Let's see how it looks.
How about that? I tell you what, Curry went all Luka on us.
If you could do that in your first game back, you could have been back a week ago.
You did that for 17 years.
Exactly.
All right, here he is throwing up the lob to Dwight Powell. Bet he's glad to have Luka back.
Yeah, honestly.
Hitting the three.
Look at that. He has it from range. He's got everything he wants. He does. Look at it. These type of passes are just special.
I remember Kendrick Perkins questioning Rick Carlisle's coaching. He said he never heard a person say anything good about Rick Carlisle. I said that Rick Carlisle is one of those coaches that he has to be, and I said this about developmental coaches and championship coaches. You got championship coaches and you got developmental coaches. It was becoming obvious to me that Rick Carlisle is a championship coach, not a developmental coach. Dallas Mavericks is just an awesome franchise, regardless, and they had some disappointing losses throughout their history. But Dallas Mavericks knows how to put together a team and compete, which they are doing now. They pretty much told Rick Carlisle to stick through it. We're going to develop the team, and you're going to coach it once you have enough pieces. And this is what Rick Carlisle is doing.
Just play with him and still play.
Look at this. This pass dunks itself. Right? Like this just dunks itself. Just jump. The ball will be there.
All right, fourth quarter, Luka weaving his way through traffic, hitting the layup. Yeah, I'd say he looks all the way back.
Luka, how did they not have Luka on Christmas Day?
Luka Doncic is going to be the second player to Stephen Curry who is able to play his game and still allow the team to shine. You have a lot of guys who have to take a backseat to their star players. And for the most part, if it works, you just got to get the right amount of players. Steph Curry was the guy who can play his game and his teammates can still play their game. I think Luka Doncic, not to the degree of a Steph Curry though, because Stephen Curry plays fast, and Stephen Curry, the way he moves and the space he creates. Luka Doncic is starting to become one of those players. Even though he's a lot more, I would say a lot more ball dominant than Steph Curry is. But the way Luka Doncic is able to allow his team to shine, and the way he's able to digress his games at times, allow his, like I said, allow the teams to shine, give the team confidence, and create a sense of aura that they feel unstoppable on offense. They just got to work on their defense. And credit to the coaching staff, because the coaching staff is also going to create great plays. And Luka has the IQ to know his teammates and know the plays and execute it.
How did they not have
I
Luka
agree
on
with that.
Christmas
Because
Day?
they heard he was going to be hurt and wasn't ready by Christmas.
No, that's not true.
A little forecast.
Luka's only question to me, well, aside from the defense, I think he's going to get better defensively. That when he gets older, because traditionally a lot of guys don't come into the league as great defenders unless you're scouted as a lockdown defender. A lot of guys just generally get better, especially if you are a smart player. If he doesn't become a great defensive player, he'll become a smart defensive player simply because of his height and his intelligence. Not to digress, Luka whole is going to come down to what he does in the playoffs. If he able to keep this up in the playoffs, win a championship, then Luka's going to be obviously, he's going to enter that realm as the best player in the NBA, which he's going to compete with Giannis for that.
Mavs held on to win. Luka 24-10-8. And here is Gregg Popovich. I hate to say this, he's not Magic Johnson, but it's Magic Johnson-like in the sense that he sees the floor in the same way. He's got a real intuitive sense. And you can't teach that.
Ooh,
Seth,
how
what do
about
you think?
that?
Magic Johnson or
call him
Magic Johnson-like?
I call him Magic-esque is what I call him.
Okay.
Look, he's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the feel. The dude is 20 years old.
Right.
He should be right now a junior in college, and yet he's dropping dimes, and he's a winning player, more importantly. He makes the game easier for everyone else. Like Richard, if you could play with a point guard that just delivered you the ball on time, on target, and you could just stick in the corner, hands up, be ready to shoot the ball, you'd still be playing.
That's how I got into the NBA.
Exactly.
I'm with Jason Kidd.
Exactly. And right here, look what he does. Eyes on the rim, draws a second defender, drops it over to Powell. Terrific. Can go straight line drive, little Euro pass. And then you got Dorian Finney-Smith. Played for me, by the way, at Virginia Tech. Spots up, knocks down to three. How about his ability, a little Magic-esque right there, dropping it behind the back, but looking off the defender. And to me, this is what makes him so tough, because he has size, he has strength, he can play.
The way he's able to dictate his pace and tempo and still allow the team to play is one thing that's astonished to me. It's like he's able to come onto that team and glue it to him, into his game, and it has embraced him. A lot of rookies they have a pace and they have a play style, but when they go to an NBA team, they have to change a lot of their pace to fit the team system. Unless you are pretty much a generational talent to where you can fire the coach and pretty much hire a coach to where that coach design a system for you.
through contact, and this is where I give him a little bit of Bird. I love this little shot fake, except Bird would talk
Like a LeBron.
trash right there as the guy flew by. His ability to show the ball, the defender go, and all of a sudden knock down that three. Think about this offense. This is the most efficient offense since post-ABA era. Think about this. You're talking about the most efficient offense. Look at the other four.
This is rare territory. However, this is a little bit early. I want to see is they're able to keep this up. I know Dallas is going to finish top 5 in offense. This is why I said they're going to be a challenge to Los Angeles Lakers. Because if Los Angeles can't defend the 3-point line, they just might be going to 6 or 7 games with this team. This is a team Lakers do not want to see.
The other four, all four of those other teams, how about this? They went to the NBA Finals.
That team's not going to the NBA Finals, though.
I don't know about that, Richard Jefferson. They're a dark horse. However, I don't believe it either. However, but when you got players like Luka Doncic, it's always that one guy nobody expect. Great players make great things happen.
I'm just making a comparison.
It's great. I like the comparison because it shows you how talented they are and what they're capable of doing when you talk about Porzingis and the talent that Doncic has around him. But man, they are going to upset somebody in the second round. I think they can make it to a conference finals, but
See, there you go. It could possibly be Houston. It can possibly be the Los Angeles Lakers. Right? They are one of those teams you have to kill. They are a team I would say nobody in the West wants to see, but particularly the Lakers. They do not want to see this team.
to say that they could beat the Lakers and Clippers.
Because Luka Doncic can very easily outclose LeBron and Anthony Davis. I can see it. Not to say that Luka is going to be better than LeBron and AD in the playoffs, but I believe offensively gifted enough, he can have games where he outperforms this year's LeBron and Anthony Davis.
They're a defense away from that.
They're a defense
Let's
away.
drill down on Luka for a second, setting aside the team. Before he was injured, he was being talked about as a viable MVP contender. Do you think he's still in the race?
I don't think he is. I think he can be mentioned. I think if he finishes the season strong, and again, I know we're not even at the mid.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this brother's points per game, assists, and rebounds. Look at this. Of course he's in the MVP race. He's top 5. I won't put him above James and Giannis Antetokounmpo, but he's around there with LeBron.
Waypoint.
LeBron is a bit
Guys
higher
like,
than him, though.
I would even say Anthony Davis, obviously Giannis, Braun. There are other guys in that mix that he has to catch up to. The first 30 games, though, yes, he was definitely one of the top 5 guys.
The key to a great player is to make the game easier for others. He does that. I think he's a year or two away from being an MVP. He will always be in the discussion because how easy he makes the game for others. He sees plays before they happen. That's the sign of great.
And that's also a good sign of leadership. You have the ability to have foresight, pretty much, to look and predict, if you do this, what outcome does this have? You have a lot of guys that operate on the now, such as Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook said, if you think it is over, he operates on instinct. This was allows you to outsmart Russell Westbrook. He was pretty much telling you in that he is not a smart player. You have guys that can look at you. If they do this, you can have this effect that can trickle down to this, that can trickle down to this. Obviously, you have guys who can see 3 plays, 2 plays, or 1 play ahead. You at least got to see about 1 to 2 plays ahead if you want to be a great player. Not telling you to see 4 or 5, but Luka Doncic is able to read the court and see about 1 or 2 plays ahead, right? Make sacrifices and also hoping to have a great game. This is lacking of James Harden. James Harden operates on the now. You have a lot of guys who's able to read a bad defender or a good defender, and they're mistaking you of a great high IQ player. James Harden is able, in terms of his game, to read who can guard him. James Harden is able to look at your footwork and tell you if you're able to guard him. He's able to move in a certain way based on how you defend him. That does not mean he is a high IQ player. James Harden just lacks the ability to, when he plays the game, he can impose his game and also allow his team to shine. This is why when James Harden imposes his game, he has to have the free throws. He stagnates the offense. This is why Chris Paul worked better on that offense than him, even though Chris Paul is unreliable. Luka Doncic is able to impose his game and allow his teammates to shine. This is going to be very dangerous against the playoffs, especially if Rick Carlisle can outcoach you, because Frank Vogel, I bet is a bit of a underrated coach because he did take that Indiana team to the Eastern Conference Finals one year, and I believe he did that again. I think he did that twice in a row. However, I think Rick Carlisle is a better coach. I think Rick Carlisle knows how to deal with stars and the team, and Rick Carlisle was a part of that team that dissected Miami thanks to LeBron's biggest meltdown in NBA history, right? So I thought this was just an interesting topic because he's the guy that no one expects. And let me tell you about these European players. I think now guys value athleticism and skill more than intelligence and hard work, right? And this is so the IQ aspect of the game is going down the toilet. So if you just automatically are smart, you'll be valuable in today's game if you can make good reads and predict. So he is a point guard who can make great reads and is very skilled. I think that he's not going to be as athletic, I would say, as a Dennis Smith, but over time, he can condition his body over time. This is very valuable. Well, that is it. If you like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, and that's it.